everyone. Today I am with McKenna today, and we're going to talk about her story today and what her story is all about. I am going to be spoilers a little bit today, so if you have not read her book and if you do not want to hear about her book, you want to read it for yourself, or you just don't want to hear any spoilers, I would suggest clicking off this video and reading the book yourself if you don't want me to spoil the story for you. Now, I won't spoil the ending, but I will talk about the racism in the book. So, in McKena's story, as you can see, it says McKenna, See Me, Hear Me, Know Me, by Denise Lewis Patrick, and it's by American Girl as well. It is about McKenna wanting to be a fashion designer. First of all, she wants to be a fashion designer because she loves clothes and she loves how they can make a statement and all that stuff. And she has her own Instagram and things like that where she posts her outfit of the day and things of that nature, you know, and she has a lot of followers and she's really awesome in that way. But another thing about McKenna is that she deals with some racism in her book. There are 4 accounts of racism in her book, and I will go over them with you guys and we will talk about them. So the first example of racism in her book is when I'm sorry, you guys, I'm trying to think which one was first. Okay, so she's at the store with her sister, her aunt, and her mother shopping, and these 2 white girls cut in front of her and her sister while she's in line. And they cut ahead of her because they want to be in front and they don't want to wait behind her because she's black. And that's, you know, that's an example of racism. And they don't move until the people behind her and her sister say something and say that the 2 of them were there first. Then the white girls move to the back of the line again. And the second example of racism is when she goes to school and there's a substitute teacher there, and her substitute teacher calls her Adeline instead of McKenna, and the other girl in the class named Adeline is also black as well. So the teacher mixes them up and does not correct herself when she is corrected. When McKenna speaks up and says, "Hey, I'm McKenna, not Adeline," the teacher does not correct her mistake and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or anything like that. The teacher does not apologize or anything like that. So that's an example of racism there. And the third example is when she tries to help a lost little girl, Lily, I believe, with her friend Jay. And they try to help her find her mother at a local festival. And this old white woman stops them and says, "Hey, what are you doing with that kid? Are you kidnapping her? Are you, trying to hurt her or something?" And the white woman jumps to the conclusion that they're bad just because they're black. And then the mother finds them and she thanks them for trying to help. So that is the third example. And the fourth example, which really shocked me the most, was McKenna and her sister lost their house key, so they tried to get inside the house by opening the windows, and the neighbor calls the police on them because he thinks that they're trying to rob their own house. So that is a really shocker, because the neighbor does not even try to walk over and say, "Hey, do you live here? Do you need help or something?" He just assumes that because they're black, they're trying to rob the house. And it's their house. And it's just like really, really shocking and ridiculous, So those are the examples of racism in her book. If you're interested in reading more about her, you can get her book. It is $7.99. I think it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I think it's also available at Target, maybe possibly Walmart. I don't entirely know where they sell American Girl books completely right now because I usually just get them with my dolls, but I know that they do sell them at Barnes & Noble and Amazon for sure. So those are definitely places that you can get just the book if you're just interested in the book and you don't want any more dolls. But if you are interested in the doll itself, the McKenna doll is available at the American Girl website for $110 plus shipping and tax. And I'm not sure how long she's going to be around. I would hope a couple years, but I would grab her if you have the money to get her now, because she is the main character in the series. So I think she will be more sought after than Yvette and Maritza, but I don't know for sure. But McKenna also has a unique face mold. As you guys can see, she has a unique face mold, unique to her, which I think will make her more collectible someday. So I am saving her box because I think that she may be more collectible someday along the lines. But I do play with her. I don't, just keep her in the box. I do take her out from time to time. I have been taking her out these past couple weeks to do comparison photos and just, look her over and stuff and, have fun with her. She is a really cute doll. And I do really enjoy having my McKenna with me. And I was going to rename her Ronisha, but after I read her story, I decided I'm just going to leave her as McKenna because her name is very important to her, and I don't want to change her name because it's very, very important to her story, because her name is very important to her story, and it's really important to her. So I'm going to let her keep her name because it is different than McKenna. At first I thought they were actually naming her McKenna, and I already had a McKenna. As you guys know, 2012 they made a McKenna, so I already have a McKenna. But her name is McKenna. So even though it's spelled M-A-K-E-N-A, it's pronounced McKenna. So it's pronounced M-A-K-A-Y-N-A. So it's pronounced that way. So it's not pronounced the same way as McKenna. So it's not just McKenna with a N missing. So yeah, it's different than McKenna. So since it's pronounced so different, I'm just gonna let her keep her name because I do actually like it now. So yeah. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about, the racism in her book, and I really think it's a good thing to teach kids about racism and about how it's unfair to treat people differently because of the color of their skin. Because, people are gonna think differently, but if someone is gifted this doll, I would hope that they would learn a lot from her. No matter what color they are, I would hope that, she would give them a little bit of empowerment about, equality and things of that nature. Kind of like Addie, kind of like the Addie doll was back when Addie came out. I think that they're trying to get another hit on their hands. I think that she will be a very popular doll. I definitely think. But I was a little bit shocked at first by all the racism stuff in the book, because it is a modern book. I'm used to it in the historical books, like with Addie and Cecil and Melody. You're used to seeing some racism in there because they're historical dolls. But in Gabby's book, there was basically nothing as far as racism goes, so I wasn't really sure what to expect with this book. I thought maybe they would just touch on a little bit. Like the first two examples, I was like, it's a little bit racist, but it's not like super bad. But the last two were like really bad. So I was like, yeah, the last two really were more shocking and really hit home, about the whole racism thing. So I definitely think that they really got a winner on their hands. Because if all they talked about was the first two things, I think that it would You know, some people would say, oh, you know, you can write that off as somebody just being rude. But the last two were definitely straight up racism. You know, that was definitely straight up racism right there. Those were definitely straight up racism. Because the first two you could definitely say, well, maybe they were just rude people, you know. You know, if somebody cuts in line in front of you, maybe they're just rude. Or if somebody, like, mistakes you for somebody else, they might be just rude and not care. But the whole accusing you of abducting a child when you're trying to help, that's racism there. And accusing you of breaking into your own house is definitely a racism there. So, and all the people doing the racism in the books were white. So that's another thing to point out. Definitely interesting. I do think that McKena will be a very interesting doll to read more about. I am interested in the second book if they make one. I'm hoping they make more books about her because I think her story is pretty interesting. I do like the whole fashion designer thing. I think that's cool. I just really hope that she doesn't have to deal with more racism because that's kind of sad. It's kind of sad the way that people treated her in the book because she's black. I mean, it's not her fault, you know. She was born, you know, black. That's not her fault or anything like that, you know. That's just the way she was born. And I did give her a hug after I read the book because I was like, you know, the poor girl. People were treating her unfairly and being racist towards her and things like that. So yeah, if you guys want to read about her, definitely give the book a try, and I will see you guys next time. Bye now.